Hey, 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 welcome to the weekly wrap up. Now, it's a pivotal moment in crypto. We don't know where we are. So, we're going to have a look and see if we can discover where we are in the pattern. I put out a TradingView post the other day that in case you missed that, we may not be at the bottom. And there's a few little bits and pieces that I want to break down for you that tell us whether we're bottomed, whether we've topped, whether in between, whether we're going sideways forever. We're going to have a look at that today. So join me. I've got a few people in the chat. Now, if you want to have a look at, if you want me to have a look at some alts for you in the second half, please get those requests through. You can do that via X, via Getting Started in Crypto, or via YouTube. And there's a few there. So I've got a BSV for Eric, and I've got Sadie in the chat. So hi, and Liz in the chat, who's running a bit late. Rude, really rude. So jump into the chat if you want any of that up here on the screen. And hello to everyone who's joined. It normally gets a bit busier as we go through, but everyone's probably just sort of waking up in Europe and in the UK at the moment, and probably asleep in the US. So they'll catch this later. It's a bit hard to get everyone. I don't know if there's a time zone that you can get the whole world at some point where it's not like 2 a.m. in some area, but I don't think that's possible. So let's jump in and see where we're going. So of course, I've got to remind you, we are brought to you by WeX. Now, if you want free signals from WeX, go to gettingstartedincrypto.com, touch on the free signals bar there somewhere, and fill out the form, and you'll get free signals from us for WeX, and it will help you hopefully be more profitable than what you are in this market, because this market has been terrible. So let's jump in straight into BTC. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see. Now, this is the chart that I had from TradingView. It's up on TradingView on my profile. Now, as well, if you go to X, you can win one of 4 TradingView annual memberships. So, and to be in it, all you got to do is retweet, like, and tell me why you want to win that TradingView annual membership. And there's 4 to give away. So there's a good chance you might win it. Now, bears are absolutely like killing it at the moment. So we hope that this bounce is not looking great at right this second, but we need to hold 74.4. It says 410, but it's actually 74.445, and that would be our wave 2. So 1, 2, going up for the 3, and so the next couple of months could be quite explosive if that pattern plays out. So if we go, I'm going to go back to this chart here, and I'm going to put it up to a daily. Let's go to the weekly, actually. It's all squished up. So we're on the weekly. Now, there's a couple of different patterns that are floating around at the moment. So we could have a head and shoulders pattern. Now, what that would look like, obviously, would be devastating for Bitcoin and for the market. So we might be going 1, 2, 3, coming up for the head, right shoulder, and coming back down. So this measurement, we measure the head to the neck line, and that is our decline. So, and these are usually pretty accurate if they happen, if they play out. So we're looking at 30K. So that would take us all the way back to that wave 1 high, which, yeah, interesting. So the reason I believe we are going up and I will explain that to you. So when we look at an Elliott wave cycle, we have 5 waves. So if this is our wave 1, we're going into the wave 3, and normally they don't break down below that wave 1. So the wave 1 high here is sitting at 67,937. So if this is a wave complete, it's not going lower than 67. So that's the lowest it's going. If this is the one of 3 and we're going up from here, so this is holding that 74,445 pivot. And then we know that that is actually bullish at this point. So they're the 2 variables. One, we've got 2. If this is, I don't think it is, but if this is a wave extension here for the 3rd wave, and that was our 3rd wave complete at 127, I don't think it is, but we would hold wave 4 at this point at 67. So there are our variables going down. If Bitcoin is going into a death spiral, we're going down to 30K. So that's not the ideal pattern here. And that puts miners at risk of just packing up and going, BTC's not functional anymore. It's not profitable. We're out of here. So to me, there's a lot of big players, and Mara and those sort of, big mining companies in BTC, that's not happening. So I don't think they're going to let it drop down to 30K a BTC. It's just not profitable for miners. So when we're looking at this, I do think we're in a wave 1 here. I don't think that was an extension of this previous 3rd wave, and that holds the 74. We could have a little bit of pain for the next kind of, week or 2 until we go into December, and we've got potentially easing coming in. So if the easing happens, then that's going to be really good. We're going to see a bounce across all markets and BTC going up. A lot of the indicators are really, really over sold at the moment. So, if we go to the fear and greed, we're sort of ticked up a little bit because we've got a green bounce today. But, we did have 13. We did go as low as 11 on the fear and greed, which is really low for where we're at. So that predominantly says there's a bounce. We've got a bounce at the moment. But yeah, so we're just waiting to play out this pattern. Now, if we get an extended sort of sideways action, then we could form a triangle in that region, and that's not impossible to have a triangle here. But I do think we're not completed this pattern yet, and we're still going in to a more bullish pattern, just due to what's happening sort of across the globe, like with, fundamentals, with what's happening in the US, with all of that sort of stuff that is going on at the moment. I see this 3rd wave the more likely pattern. So we haven't got a confirmation on direction as yet. So we can't say that it's guaranteed pattern. It's the most plausible pattern. We, obviously we do have that inverse of the head and shoulders that could potentially play out. We don't have the right shoulder yet. So it's just at the moment something that could happen, something that could play out. But I've seen it all over Twitter at the moment, or X, and they love jumping on the bandwagon of the what could happen, worst case scenario. So best case scenario, we're sitting up at 200K, and we've all gone, okay, this wasn't the worst bull run ever, it just happened late. So when we go back to the chart, why the top may not be in for BTC. So when we look at the 4-year cycle, so we've just got certain regions we need to be at certain times for this to work out. So we have like I'm going to just get the code. So our top is green, our bottom is red, and our halving is yellow. So we're coming into halving in March 2028, predominantly about 700 days before that. Doesn't have to be, but that's kind of the halfway point. We see that sort of moving into halving. So we have potentially until November 26 to get to this bottom. So wave 3 in Elliott wave is the fastest, the swiftest, the most explosive. The reason I still believe this is wave 3 is because this pullback has been really extreme, which happens in wave 3s. So we get a sharp move up, a fast pullback, another sharp move up, a fast pullback. So that's kind of how it works. So this is why it could be definitely the third wave. So that could be the pattern playing out. So that's our potential. Now we've got that pivot sitting there. Now our start of our bullish pivots moving up and our directional pivots. So we've got one that's quite important sitting at about 88,628. And there's a really, really, really important one sitting up at this level here at 106. So 106 and 31 is kind of where we need to get above. And that puts us above this previous support, previous resistance, and we can continue up. So we might chop in this region for a little bit. Let me just get some squiggles. We come up, we still might have one more wave down. That's not, there's several different counts we can do. Weekly is quite ugly with the 3 red crows. That normally means we're going down. But if we've got one more wave, we might sit here and chop for a little bit and then head up. So, if we don't get past that 106, then that's when we're looking at that shoulder and we're going down. So, and then we've just got to hope that this region here holds and that shoulder doesn't break down. So that's the other thing, the other scenario as well. We might get the shoulder, but it also might be whales at play here and then coming up and doing a wave, like a condensed wave 1, and then coming back down and going, oops, yep, okay, off we go, and holding those levels. So that's the scenarios for BTC. We don't have a direction as yet. If somebody says we've got a direction, we do not. We do not. I categorically disagree with that. There's nowhere here that says we've breached this point here or we've reached the upper pivots. So we're trading in a pretty much it's got to be scalping only, because there's no direction. So you're just going to eat up all your profits if you're looking at anything other than what the larger picture is at this point of it at time. So BLX, now they've discontinued this chart, so the API is no longer connected to TradingView, which is depressing. So because this was my favorite chart, because this one goes way back to the beginning. So we do have marked on this. So we've got 5 waves potentially. We've got this new wave. Now, obviously, we want to come back down. So we have a look here. We've got a strong support, and this strong support goes back to the 21st of November high in 2021. So before we got, that's the 66 high, and then we've got the 69 high. So in October, so we've got those 2 points, and then we've got this point here, which was our wave 3, 1st of March 24. Came back down, pierced it, but still pretty much, that's a support region. So coming back down on the other way, so that's 78,900 sort of is that support. 74 pierces it again and comes back down to this region here. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility that we're just coming back down, testing that as support, and then continuing up for that third wave. And if it is a third wave, there's going to be so much money pouring into that, this is going to be one of those kind of moments where you go, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't ready. So, if you are, sort of, I've been sort of taking a small little bites around this region. And if we do get one more dip, I'll take like a bigger bite, and then I'll have a stop loss. And that to me is worth risking sort of 5% on, because if this goes up, there's potential it's going to double, and that's 100% move. So that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. USDT really, really, really needs to hold here. It can go as high as 7.53. Ideally, we don't want that to happen, because BTC will be pulling down even more. Now, if that does, that becomes a more complex WXY with, pretty jumbled waves in this region. Ideally, we want it to be a bit more cleaner, and then it just comes down from here. But it is quite overbought at this point, like overbought as in too many people sitting in USDT and sitting on their hands and not doing anything. So when we're looking at this chart, and we can see once we get to these tops on these bears, we've got a point here where we've got quite a strong bearish divergence. We've got a point at this point here. You can see we have peaked. We're up at this point here where we've peaked, and we're here again at this, and we're under the pivot. So that also tells me we're potentially going up for BTC. So these are all the things that I've been going, okay, when we're looking at direction, and I'm going to start, putting a little bit more money back into the market, slowly, then what am I looking at? What are the indicators telling me? Are they telling me that we're moving? Are they telling me that we're bullish, we're bearish, or we're just kind of neutral? And that's kind of what I'm looking for. DXY has hit the pivot. We want that to die, obviously. We want to put that heavy metal song on that, I got actually banned. One of my videos got banned on YouTube, like for swearing. So I'm not going to sing it this time. And I had to re-edit the video and edit that bit out. So it's basically die, mother, die. So insert the F word there. But you can listen to it on YouTube if you want, and get the feeling, and tell the DXY to do that. Bitcoin dominance is almost at the support. That's another sign that Bitcoin's almost at the bottom as well, and about to start moving. Now, ETH has lots of signs that this is going to start moving. So the other scenario is we go back to 2017, BTC topped, it sort of hung around a little bit and, just trended sideways. That's possible. As I was saying, we could just sort of bounce in that area and just sort of do nothing. And ETH could be the one that runs. So when we go back to 2017, ETH ran right through until January. It had a bit of a pause. It went, oh, what's BTC doing? Okay, I'm this is my showtime now. So maybe that's something that Ethereum could do. Now, this is hit on the 618. It like broke my pattern. So maybe we've got a truncated, ugly wave here, which I didn't want to count as that, but potentially that's what we have. So this region here was the 618. Ideally, we want to get back up about 3,400. Then we're sort of starting to look like we've got momentum and money coming back in, and we're breaking pivots at that point. The major pivot here we're wanting to break is 3,505, and the next one up, 3,845. We're breaking the 3,845. We're going all the way back up to 5K. So that's kind of where we're looking. Now, the reason this chart is so important, and kind of what I was showing you on the USDT dominance, is every time we've got to these points, we've seen like quite a nice bounce on Ethereum. So we got there just the other day, and we are at that point. We crossed, we've got bullish divergence, we've crossed on the MACD, the histogram is flipping positive, and ETH is sitting here looking a little bit greener. So it hasn't broken the pivots yet. It's just sort of hanging there like everything else is doing. Might have one more wave down. So if we have a look back, where we kind of, we come back down at these points, and, we've had really nice profit the whole way along. So when everything has lined up. So that's the other reason. So there's a couple of charts like this within the top 10 that are all the indicators are all lining up that this is turning momentum. We're turning into a bullish momentum. So, that doesn't mean we still haven't got one last wave down and, we're just going to completely kill everyone that's not in spot and is still over leveraging, still has come in really late and going, okay, we're just going to keep going down. And they're shorting. So at this point, you wouldn't be entering a short because there's no real reason to. Indicators are showing we're changing, so that's the potential here. But this is a really sort of cautious week. We've got a massive amount of futures releasing between the 28th and the 1st. So between the 28th of November to the 1st of December. I think it's something like 10 billion to 12 billion from what I was looking at today. So that's huge as well. So that could drive the market like even further. So if we go back and we have a look at potentially where we were a year ago, and if we were in longs or shorts. So at this point, if you were entering the market and you were buying 12 months for futures, so a lot of these are going to be 12 monthly futures. So if you were betting on the market going up at this point, so you've bought a long, a 12 month long, because this is low. So this is like low here, then 19th of August, sort of here. Where are we? So we're 25th, 24th. We want to get down to this point. So around this point, we're still quite like bullish at this point. We don't think that we're going down. There may have been a few people that were going, okay, maybe this is the top at, we're topping out at this resistance and we're going down. But if we're on a 12 monthly future, we're probably buying longs at this point, believing that this is going to be, close to, if not the top of the bull market by the time these longs expire. So longs sell into the market, so they turn short. So we don't want that to happen. So that could be where we break down to that 74K. But if we've got a lot of people that were going, okay, we're going short at this point, they buy in long, and that's where the market explodes. So that's the potential. So we don't want all of these people that were a year ago having the thought that, oh my God, this is, we're going long at this point and we're going forever. We wanted them to believe that this was the top. They've all gone short and they haven't lost a lot of money. So the thing with whales is they'll normally push that price back to where they're sort of break even. So if there's a lot of big players that were about to get liquidated, that's why the price has come back down to this region, because exchanges and whales kind of work together. And they go, okay, well, there might be a small loss at this point, but then the market turns. And then they go, okay, they may not take, they may just take a monthly, or they may take quarterlies, or they may roll it over. So some of that may not come back into the market. It may get rolled over. So that's kind of what we're looking at over the next probably week. So that might push that down to that 74. So hopefully not. Hopefully we've got enough buyers at that point, enough liquidity there that it holds and we continue higher. So the other one is the ETH BTC chart is looking quite bullish as well. So that's why I do think ETH is going to move soon. We've got this falling wedge. Potentially it can still have one more wave down. I don't think it does look more like it's about to break out, to be honest. So it just needs a lot more volume. This kind of all the volumes evaporated from the market. So we need that volume coming back. As I always say, we haven't even been seeing USDC prints over the last week. So we kind of want to see USDC prints. We want to see USDT prints and that sort of money coming back into the market. So that's kind of where we are for the majors. Now I've got a few alts that you guys want to look at, and I'm going to get those up. But first, I'm going to play you an ad for getting started in crypto. And if you want to join us, we've got some super huge specials coming out this week for Black Friday. So they're coming out tomorrow. So just hold tight for those. But yeah, let me play you an ad and I'll be back in 30 seconds. Yay. Okay. And I am back. All right. Now there's a few, I've got 3-4 charts that I've had requests for. So there's not a lot. Alts are all ugly at the moment. There's a few that are sort of looking interesting. Bitcoin Cash, BCH, is looking interesting. And there's a signal in it getting started crypto at the moment. It should pull back into the buy zone. It's just curling down on the 4 hour. So it'll likely come back in and then should take a move upwards. Litecoin, very, very similar pattern. So this is very, very similar pattern to what BTC has with this like jumbled mess. BTC got a higher high, Litecoin didn't, but that doesn't mean that it's still not in a bullish pattern, which it seems to be, as long as this support holds, which is sitting at about 78, 79. But we are turning around on the indicators on this one as well. So like every time we've hit these bottoms for Litecoin, we've had quite a nice bounce. So, and we get quite good momentum coming in. So that's kind of what we're seeing at the moment for Litecoin. Now BSV, so there's been, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I see it everywhere at the moment. And I've seen quite a few people commenting that they've seen BSV, a lot of people commenting, and it's getting a lot of momentum on X. Price hasn't moved. And there was a dev or a developer, or he had some sort of business on BSV, Ari. And many, many years ago, I think this was in 2019 or 2020, he said that BSV was going to be $5. So when we go back to this wedge at this point, it's about $5. So if we get one more pullback on BSV, it's 5.73. So that's kind of maybe the bottom if it doesn't hold here. Now, it has got quite a nice support in this region, though. So I don't think Ari is going to get his $5 unless it gets a wick. It should stay not lower than 17 and then hopefully head up to 67, where it's got a hard resistance. Now, that is a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Being as it's a fourth touch to that region, it really, really, really needs to break through, because if it doesn't, then Ari is getting his $5. So we don't want him to be ever proven right. So I don't even know if he's in the BSV community anymore, but it's been mighty close to that range for a little bit. So yeah, sort of hovering. The lowest here was, I think this was the low at about 17. So close, but no cigar for Ari. So that's what we want. Maybe one more wave down. Should break through hopefully at that 70 point, because that is the fourth touch. It really, really needs to break through at that point, and that's got nice momentum if it does. Now, Zen has a head and shoulders forming. We don't want that to like break down. So this is one that I've been trading and hodling for a while, one that I like. So yeah, so we don't want this to break down, because that's going to go way, 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 way down, and that would not be ideal. So we want this support to hold, which is the low. We don't want it to go lower than 11.34, and then a continuation up. So this has kind of been playing out before BTC plays out. So, you know, ideally, this wave, come back down, touch, and then a continuation up. Even sideways is better than breaking down. So, but it does have a wave down. It does have some bearish divergence on that. And I'm just going to have a quick look. I've got Solana. Solana I put up on X the other day. Now it's got potentially a massive sort of bull flag, bear flag, depending which way it breaks down, happening at the moment. So ABC. So C can be done. C can go as low as 103 and then continue up. So if the market has one more wave this week, and we head down, Solana probably sit between 103, 105, and then come up. Now it may do a D wave, and then the E wave comes back down, or it holds here, depending on which support we hold. So if we hold here, the E wave is going to hold this region. So we don't always get the D wave, so we always buy the C wave, because the D wave and the E wave normally don't break lower than the C wave. So that's kind of how that works with the pattern. So if we're going back down again, 100, 103 to 105, or here and it's heading up for a D wave, or it's breaking through at this point, and that becomes the next wave up. So that would look like the impulse starting, and potentially it's got a resistance there. It gets a truncated one, comes back up, and is off and running. So I haven't measured any of these waves, so don't get excited. But that's the potential of what could happen. So that could happen for Solana if it breaks down at this point, which is a more bearish pattern. There's an ABC that goes a bit lower. So if we break down on that purple support, we're potentially going back down at this region. I will actually measure that for you guys. So our 1-to-1 is 53. So that's the mega bearish alternative. Like if it goes to the 1.236, it's $5 Solana. Like that's insane. I would be like snapping that up. That's incredible. So I don't think we're breaking down at this point. We've got too many signs that say that we're bouncing at this point. So yeah, maybe one more wave. And the last one was ADA. Let me go up on a higher time frame. So we've got bullish divergence happening at the moment. We broke back down. Just let me remove all of this stuff. So the only thing that's a bit ugly on this chart is we're getting a bearish cross here on the MAs on the 100 and the 200. So that's because we've dipped below these regions. Now, we're really, really oversold on the divergence indicator on the RSI. So it potentially can come back down and have one more test if we get that wave, that last wave down. If not, we'll come up and we will test that and they'll start to split open again. That's the ideal scenario. We'd like to get up at this point as high as 78, and that's potentially a test to this region here. So yeah, it's kind of in, if you were here from the beginning, it's in a similar sort of zone to what BTC is, where there's no overall direction. We're just looking at indicators at the moment, and we're going, okay, these indicators are all bottoming out. So that does mean there should be a bounce at sometime soon. It does look like there's going to be a bounce in this region. When we go, I'll add a stock. Tastic. And we've bottomed out on that one as well. So for me, this is an area that we're going to see a bounce. So, you know, regardless of whether we've got one more pullback, it's hard to say whether, you know, we've completely bottomed, because these waves have been doing extensions. So that's been killing all my trades at the moment, just with these extensions that keep going down, down, down to Funky Town. But we've just crossed on the daily on this, and we've just sort of ticked up. We just need the volume to enter the market at the moment. So yeah, it is a bit sort of, you know, we're all sort of sitting there and waiting for something to happen. And we're waiting for those tether prints. We're waiting for the money to start rolling in. And it's kind of a waiting game. So we're going to be waiting for those futures. We hope that the 6 monthly futures, when they release on November, on the 28th, between the 28th of November and the 1st of December, and then we've got annual as well futures that are releasing during that period. So hopefully they release the right way and we're going up. But yeah, it's a bit of a tricky market at the moment. And like I was saying earlier, there is no definitive answer whether we've gone and reached the top of BTC or we've bottomed out at the moment and we're about to take off. So we still don't know. We're still waiting. A little bit more patience, a little bit more sitting on hands. I've been taking a few little nibbles of these from my longer term bags. And, you know, I've got a stop loss on there, of course. So if they break certain regions, then, you know, that's going to hit my stop loss. I'll be like, oh, 5%. Oh, well. But yeah, overall, it's we're kind of just waiting. So just be extra cautious out there this week. And yeah. And if you're getting inside in crypto, you can ask for charts in the chat, and you're on X or you're on TikTok or Instagram, and you like psychology, quantum physics, and that sort of stuff. There's heaps of videos that go up, about 4 or 5 a week. So come and follow me on all of those, and I will catch you here next week. Thanks for watching.